Okay, question 21 for the Practice Provincial B. Damien has a list of 37 potential customers for his house painting business. In order to get a business graph or business grant, he must graph his income versus the number of customers. Determine the domain of the graph. Okay, so it's asking us for the domain of the graph. Basically, well, let's start off with the graph. We can do a rough sketch. And the business grant says it must be he must graph income versus number of customers. Okay, number of customers. Okay, we'll plot that on the x-axis, and his income will be on the y-axis. Okay, now why did I put the number of customers on the x-axis? Well, in class we talked about the x-axis containing or being the independent variable. Okay. Now why did I choose the number of customers as the independent variable? Well, the number of customers is something that you can sort of control. Okay. Because your income, or sorry, the number of customers doesn't really depend on your income. Okay. So the number of customers is independent of your income, meaning that this is the value that we can control. We can control the number of customers to some degree. Your income, however, is controlled by the number of customers. And in class we discussed that the y-axis is the dependent variable, because the y-axis depends on whatever the independent variable is. So the dependent variable depends on independent variable. Independent variable doesn't depend on anything. So the number of customers is our independent variable, because it doesn't really depend on anything. The income, however, does depend on the number of customers. So, the question asks us domain of the graph. So we want to know how many customers can we actually get. Okay. So Damien says he has up to 37 customers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and so on, all the way up to 37. Okay. So looking at our answers, we have to go, looks like we can go from 0 to 37. So 0 to 37. It can't be A, because A says it goes forever. It can't be C, because C says all real numbers. Okay. The most number of customers we can get is 37. So it can't be A or B, because they go on forever. So, it can't be A or C, because they go on forever. It could be B or it could be D. Now you have to decide which one of these is the better answer. Well, B says that we have our domain is just going to be all the whole numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 37. D says all real numbers. This could be 0.1 or maybe 3.7 or 4.9. These numbers are okay. Those numbers would work for this. For B, only integer numbers, only whole numbers. Okay. So which one would be correct? They look like both could be correct, but only one of them is. Now I'll ask you this, or I'll say this, I should say. With D, because again the x-axis represents our number of customers, is it possible to have 0.1 customers? Okay. Or is it possible to have 0.5 customers, or maybe 4.9 customers? Is it possible to have these decimal customers? Okay. Well, probably not, because a decimal customer would basically mean that you're like not a whole person. Okay. Or a person that's not able to do anything. So it can't be D because of that, because all real numbers suggests that we can have decimal customers. Decimal customers just make no sense. There's no physical meaning to a decimal customer. So the answer for 21 is going to be B. And let's check. B. 21 is B. And again, all real numbers means you can have decimal numbers, and depending on the context of the problem, will those decimal numbers make sense or not?